Okay, so, hi. A little bit late. I haven't had a chance to get some time alone, but on the 20th, man, I'm a week late, was 1 year auntie. So a whole year has passed, which is kind of shocking. Honestly, I'm still kind of going, wait, it's been a whole year. But no, it has. Which surprised me actually when I realised. I thought it was today, the 26th, but then I looked it up and I was wrong. Um, but that's not why I'm doing a video today and not like a week ago. I was just really disorganised. But anyway, so a year. Not have I got much to report from my previous video? Not really, to be honest. Changes from a year ago, you know, are big in some ways and small in others. So, you know, you look at where I was a year ago, I was in a lot of pain, I was miserable as all hell. A lot of that is gone. You know, I am far more mentally stable, far more emotionally stable. I don't get so many of the migraines, don't get, constant headaches. I haven't had shooting pains, anything like that for a very, very long time. I also haven't had a period since about 2 months in. So, yay. Can't say I miss those bloody things. So, that's been kind of cool, to not have to deal with that nonsense. I have had my voice drop a little bit. I mean, it dropped quite a bit in my first few months. It was really sore, really weak. Now I still can't shout, and I don't know if I'll ever really be able to shout because I don't know how much of that is because of weakness to my voice from it dropping, and how much is that I'm trying to shout like I would have with my previous range, and how much is that I actually just have to shout low. I don't know. But whatever the case, I can't really shout. My voice just goes. There's no strength to it. But I can speak loudly, I can project, I can mostly sing, not entirely on key anymore, which is a bummer. But it's really weird because I've lost this weird part of my range. Like, I can do high, and then there's a chunk where there's no sound, and then low. It's just odd, because I expected to lose, like, my upper register, and it's just sort of, like, drop down. But no, it's sort of like this middle register has gone. It's bizarre. I don't know how low it will go, how much more it will continue to drop. I don't know. I might never have a particularly deep voice. We'll see. In terms of everything else, hair growth is pretty good. I'm not sure if my camera can pick it up. Yeah, here's my sideburns, which are fantastic and soft. I have got some chin hair, but I don't really think the camera can pick it up. But I always had chin hair, but I've got a lot more now. It's not very thick. I don't have any moustache here. It's still just blonde fluff, which is weird. So it looks like I've just kind of got a chin strap going on. Yay. A lot of belly hair, arm hair, basically all the bits of me that were already hairy just got hairier, basically. I've always had a really furry neck, I've always had really furry arms, furry belly, furry chin, and so all the bits of me that already were furry just thickened up. Areas where I didn't really have any hair, I haven't gotten a huge amount, so I've got one or two chest hairs, a few shoulder hairs, which is probably from the gel. But otherwise, yeah, I don't really have any. I certainly don't have any hair. I don't really have hairy knuckles. Got hairy toes though. Back hair, no, don't have any of that. Thank God. And so it's weird. It is weird. And in terms of other things, in terms of any other changes, there's not really been a heck of a lot. I mean, I get pain sometimes here. I try to not wear a binder all the time. As you can see, I'm not wearing a binder, I'm wearing a sports bra, because I get blocked ducts and they hurt. And so, but I do get a little bit of sort of tenderness in them, which is annoying, and I'd rather they didn't, because it reminds me they exist, and I hate them. I get occasional pain in other places, but it's nothing major. Certainly nothing on what it was. As I said, I haven't had the shooting pains. I haven't had the, oh god, I can't even lift my arm pain here. I haven't had the headaches or the hot flushes and the cold flushes and all of that. I do seem to have developed sleep apnea, which is irritating. I started snoring, which I never used to do, and sometimes it's almost like a flap comes over my throat and I go and I jerk myself awake, which is very, very annoying. Apparently that is a side effect of testosterone. So yay. But it's just something I just have to live with, I suppose. I got a lot of spots on my back as well, which hurt. And itching. Oh god, the itching. I itch all over all the time, particularly when I'm trying to get to sleep, and I don't know why. And it's not just my body, it's like my head, my face, everything itches. And it's driving me, see, now I'm itchy, and it's driving me nuts. I don't know why. I mean, I always used to have itching, but it's gotten so much worse, and it's just really infuriating. But yeah, I have completely lost my sex drive. So, yay. Which is an odd one, but, oh well. It's one of those things, isn't it? I haven't really had any other changes, to be honest. I've had this little bit of fat redistribution, but I had such chunky hips anyway that they're always going to be a bit chunky. Even if I lose the inch of fat that's still on them, I'm always going to have white hips, and I'm okay with that. It's more losing that inch. I've been trying to lose weight, but I don't know. I like food, and I eat. Boredom eat is my main problem. I'm boredom eat, and it makes it very difficult to then lose weight. But also, I can't not eat, because if I get hungry, it's painful. So I can't starve myself or skip meals or anything like that. I have to constantly eat. It's just trying to figure out what I can eat that's going to fill me up, that's going to be, good for me. And then the other problem we have here is that my other half can't have potato, and I can't have gluten. And so our carbohydrate is very much rice, because it's the only thing we can both eat. And we can have gluten-free pasta and stuff, but I've never liked pasta. And so almost every meal is rice, and there's a lot of carbohydrate there, and I'm not sure carb loading's brilliant. And I'm addicted to cheese, and so that's a problem. And my other half is addicted to chocolate, so there's always chocolate in the house, which is a temptation that I don't need. I have fairly good willpower, except with cheese. Cheese is where my willpower just fails me. So, I mean, I'm trying to lose weight, I'm trying to be more active, but it's hard because, one, I'm a glutton, and two, because I have chronic fatigue, it makes it very difficult to do any real exercise. I'm not really supposed to overdo it, because then I'll wipe myself out for days and days and days. And so I have to be very, very careful. And that makes it very difficult to be active enough to burn off calories when you can't go for a run, you can't go for a long walk. You have to be incredibly careful about how much exercise you actually do, or you will set yourself back by a huge amount. And that is proving difficult, because I'm sitting there going, I want to lose 10 kilos, but how do you lose 10 kilos when you can only have this very light level of exercise and activity, and when, you have a whole list of dietary restrictions. I shouldn't drink milk, I shouldn't have gluten, I shouldn't have a lot of stuff, and lockdown has made takeout too easy as well, which is not brilliant. I don't know, I just need to eat better. I just need to eat better. But yeah, given where I was a year ago, I am feeling significantly better than I was. Um, at least in terms of my migraines and my emotional and mental health. I still have a lot of other issues that need to be, just lived with. The hypermobility, the problem with which causes the problem with my hip and my spine, the whole chronic fatigue thing. Those are things I just have to live with because there's not really a lot I can do about it. I have these disabilities and you just got to suck it up. But it sucks. And that's the post. It's very late for the post. But that's the post. Um, and it sucks and it's annoying and it's frustrating, but nothing's going to change that. Testosterone's not going to change that. Testosterone might help a little bit because it should, as I get more muscle, should help stabilize my joints, but it might not because my joints are progressively getting worse. The older I get, the more floppy all my joints become. And I am far more aware of how unstable they are. My jaw keeps clicking out. Last night I was trying to eat, and every time I bit down, I could just hear it go clunk, 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 which makes eating really hard. And my shoulder and neck constantly go out if I sleep in a particular way, and I don't realise because it's not uncomfortable. Then it hurts. I freeze my neck constantly. My spine is so deformed that it's constantly hurting. My hip constantly hurts because it pops out of the socket and grinds against the edge of the um, socket for it. And I'm constantly clicking joints out of place. And then they just kind of go crack, crunch, 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 crunch. So it's like having ragdoll limbs, but it's really frustrating because it's so easy to overextend something and then pull muscles or ligaments and cripple yourself for days or weeks. I have major problems with this hand as well. So, and that's because of joint damage. You can see my finger. See how bent that is? That's from joint damage from a cat, of all things. But that was done when I was a kid, and it's caused problems ever since. And as I get older, the freezing in the joint has travelled down, 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 down into the wrist and into the other fingers as well, so this finger and this finger. And so I can clench it, but this finger doesn't have the mobility that this one does. And this wrist doesn't have the resilience that this one does. And this is my dominant hand. And so I get pain in my wrist constantly. And it's not from using my mouse. Weirdly enough, it's not repetitive strain injury. What it seems to be is that because of the damage here and coming down to here, anything that involves using these three fingers hurts. So with a mouse, go like this. You're only using that finger, and that's fine. Doesn't bother me. Doesn't worry. Doesn't matter. But if I have to use these ones, excuse me, I'm in terrible pain. So I can't play old platform games because if you have to use the keys, the arrow keys, they're too close together. And because they're so close together, it causes my wrist to seize up. Weird, huh? And if I have to write for too long, my wrist seizes up. So that's very annoying. This is unrelated to transition. This is just my body being stupid and crappy and falling apart. So I mean, oh dear, something set me off. I've derailed myself and I have no idea what I'm doing anymore. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. This is terrible. We'll edit this out. So, one year, auntie has, been a pretty good actually. I mean, 2020 has been a crappy year. It's been a horrible year. But it's not been too bad for me because I'm fairly antisocial anyway, but also it's allowed me, I suppose, to just sort of take it easy, which I need to do. The only problem is that because we can't go out and rush and do like name change stuff and gender marker change stuff and all of that stuff, because a lot of places still aren't doing face-to-face appointments. We keep getting put into lockdown again, and then you can't go out. And I don't really feel great about going out for things that I don't consider to be vital. It means that I still haven't had my name changed. And so because I haven't done my official name change, that reflects badly on me when it comes to talking to the endocrinologist or the therapist. They get really grumpy about it. And no amount of me saying, well, it's not a priority because everyone around me uses the correct name anyway, and the only things I get that have my dead name on them are, stuff I don't give a crap about, like my bank statement, which I just go, whatever. The only people who ever call me by my dead name are people who don't matter, as far as I'm concerned. It's like, doctors and, professional agencies who I have no emotional connection to whatsoever. I don't care. They can call me whatever the fuck they want. I don't give a shit. It would be nice to be referred to as the correct name, but at the same time, it doesn't cause me enough distress or annoyance to see the point of going through all the stress of doing the face-to-face, of organising a face-to-face appointment, sitting there with a mask on, in a face-to-face appointment, taking that risk of going on public transport all the way to the bank or to the doctor or to wherever I have to go, and doing this because it has to be done face-to-face for some stupid fucking reason. And it's just not important right now. I have a crappy immune system. I am disabled. I do not want to take the risk. And as far as I'm concerned, it's not worth the risk just to have my bank statement have the correct name on it. It can wait. It can wait. But the therapists and the endocrinologists and all these people who work in transkid don't seem to agree with that. They sort of seem to think that you should want to change it immediately. And I'm like, well, why? It's not essential, but also we're not living in normal times. I'm not delaying it because I don't want to do it. I'm delaying it because, one, it's incredibly stressful, and two, we're in the middle of a fucking pandemic. It just seems like a non-essential thing to be doing right now. And this annoys me that there's sort of this lack of consideration of the fact that the circumstances that we're in this year are different to how they would have been last year or the year before or whatever, and that they really need to acknowledge that. And that for some of us, going out and doing those sorts of things is just not a priority when our health is far more important. I am supposed to stay and be sensible. All of us should be being sensible, but, I do not have a good immune system. And while I'm not on the shielding list, I am aware that as an asthmatic, as someone who has post-septic syndrome, as someone who just naturally has an incredibly shitty immune system, I really should not take the risk when there is a respiratory illness going around like this. I have awful lungs. My lungs suck, okay? I have the lungs, apparently, of a 60-year-old, according to the Breathe Into a Thing test. And that's because I am asthmatic. I am asthmatic, and I'm allergic to just about fucking everything in the air. So, I already have crap lungs. I don't want to make them crapper, because a respiratory illness could make me very, very ill. I'm not strong and hardy like a lot of people my age. And I've got to be careful. I've already nearly died a couple of times. I don't want to do that again, I'm kind of done with the whole, being hospitalised and almost dying. It's old. I'm bored of it. I just don't wanna. So it's not important to me. And so right now, the people around me, with the exception of my stepdad, call me by the correct name. And the only reason my stepdad doesn't is because he's a moron. Because he's forgetful. And he keeps forgetting. But my mother does, my husband does, my dad has never called me by my birth name anyway, so just calls me his usual nicknames. My sister does, all of my friends call me the correct name, so all the people who matter use the correct name anyway. So, who cares? I'm sort of with my grandfather on this. He changed his name, but didn't legally change his name. And so the only time he ever went by his birth name, which he hated, was through professional stuff. And then everyone who mattered to him called him by his chosen name. And that worked for him right up until his death. I mean, even his gravestone has, both names on it. Because it just didn't matter to him that, yes, this was his birth name, this was a fact of existence, but everyone called him by the name he wanted, so why bother changing it? And, I will eventually change my name on everything, eventually, but it's something that can wait. Just like my gender marker is something that can wait, because so few stuff actually comes through using a gender anyway, and whenever I have the option to use either a neutral or just Mr, I do. And honestly, you just kind of gloss over it, you just kind of don't really pay attention to it anymore. What I find more annoying, more irritating, is not these faceless bits of documentation, it's the people who know that you're transitioning, like my children's school, and the doctors involved with them or with me, them, and people who are aware of what is going on, of my medical history, of my transition, who continue to call me Mrs. Because they know, right? These are groups of people I am out to. They know that is not correct, and yet they still continue to do it. And it's not malicious, it's just ignorance. And I find it irritating. But I don't want to cause a scene, so I don't say anything. And I should say something, but I'm so... I don't know. I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to be a drama queen. I don't want to make a fuss. Because I already feel like I am asking too much. I know that's silly, but I always feel like I'm asking too much of people. So, my doctor calling me woman, girl, lady, ma'am, Mrs. I'm like, are you serious right now? The gynecologist who wrote with no hint of irony or concept of it being weird was, this young woman is on testosterone for her gender dysphoria. How do you write that sentence and not pause? Just, how do you write that sentence? And I just, oh my god. And when I went to pick up my testosterone the other month, I went to pick up my testosterone, and I pick up my testosterone every 3 months from the same pharmacy, right? They know it's for me, because I've told them it's for me. I pick it up, and I go, thank God, it was really difficult to get a hold of this, thank you, and I leave, right? And they have seen me transitioning, they must be like, oh, look, this person's voice is dropping, and they're becoming furrier, and they pick up this testosterone. Surely they would make that connection, but no. I went in to pick up my testosterone. And they said, oh, ma'am, here's your prescription. My prescription is in the name Mr. But they still called me ma'am. That I find more annoying. Like, I don't give a shit about my bank statements or, like, letters from the NHS or whatever being under misses because that's what's in their system. You know, I don't expect them to know, but people face to face meeting you, knowing it's still reverting out of habit or out of ignorance. It's just, oh my god. It's so annoying. But I mean, I am still getting mandalore. I still don't pass. I mean, let's face it, I don't. And there is a part of me that wonders if I ever will. Because a year in, I know isn't a huge amount of time, but it would still be nice if people paused. And the only people I found that pause are children. And I think it's because children have far, I don't know, children seem to realise better. You know, even really early on, I was asked if I was a boy or a girl by a child. Because I was dressed, you know, in baggy masculine clothes, had short hair and hairy legs, you know. And I think maybe their concept of gender is much more black and white, maybe, that if someone has short hair and is dressed in this way, they're a boy, and if they're like this, then they're a girl. But in a way, it's kind of nicer, because if I'm around children, they will ask, because they're not sure. They're like, is that just a like, woman dressed in masculine clothes, or is that a man? And they ask. Whereas adults just assume. And so immediately they assume wrong. Everywhere I go, no matter how I'm dressed, I can be wearing a binder and baggy clothes and leave the house feeling super masculine. You know, I've got my facial hair all like, you know, good and obvious, and, you know, feeling super, you know, yeah, I pass as a young man, yeah. And then I'll go out and immediately someone will be like, oh, excuse me, ma'am. Or to their child, oh, just watch out for that lady. And every time it's like disappointment and self-doubt, because you sit there and you go, I looked in the mirror this morning and I felt really confident and I felt really like masculine, and I thought, hey, yeah, you look, you know, you look unambiguously masculine today, yeah, it's gonna be a good day, right? And then you go out and immediately someone calls you ma'am and you go, I was wrong, I can't trust my judgment, fuck. And then it's like, well, what is it that gave me away? And then you start going through everything and you're like, is it my mannerisms, is it my face, is my binder not good enough, is it what I'm wearing, is it this, is it that, is it, you know, and you start overanalyzing. And I find it eats away at me. It's like, it doesn't upset me so much, it just sends me into this spiral of doubt and criticism, self-criticism, where you're sort of going, well, what did I do wrong, what did I do wrong, well, what's this, and the thing is that I don't want to ask other people what I've done wrong, because I don't really want to know, because then it makes me feel shit, you know, like, I have before now posted photos or whatever online and gone like, what is it that's giving me away, and had, you know, trans mass people be like, oh, it's this and this, and then I feel like shit, because I'm like, whoa, oh, okay, so I just fail at everything then, you know, so it's hard. I'm just gonna have some more. And I think it's less that you feel invalidated, because how's a stranger supposed to know? It's more that you just feel like a failure. You feel like you failed, but also that you have deluded yourself and you can't judge things. You can't trust your own judgment. And I hate that. I really do hate that. I honestly would prefer that people just didn't use it. That's my phone. I can't remember what I was talking about. The phone distracted me. My attention span's terrible these days. Anyway, so I wanted to do a year thing just because I was feeling bad that I hadn't done it, you know, because it's meant to be like a milestone, you know. And it was kind of important to me. I baked a cake. it failed. Then I baked another cake and it was better. But I need to kind of pencil in some time to just do like a regular vlog and all the other things I want to do. The problem I have is that I really need somewhere less intrusive to do it, because this is our living room and that's why it's such a mess. So the sofas are there and the dining table's there. This room is tiny and there are 5 of us in this house with this tiny little living room, and it means that there's seldom time where I am on my own. I mean, even now I'm not on my own, the little one's over there, but there's seldom time when I've just got time where the house is quiet and empty. And I really need to figure that out. I need to figure out where I can go that's not going to be in everyone's way and all of that as well. But I'm on a PC, I can't just pick it up and move. I might need to steal someone's laptop. So, I don't know, I'll try and figure it out, because I really would like to do more vlogs, to do more just general stuff. I want to do more toy reviews. I want to do more like streaming as well, just because why not? You know, it gives me something to do and I enjoy it. But it's penciling in the time to do that, because I'm an incredibly disorganised person. I mean, anyone who follows my blog knows full well I don't have a schedule for when I post stuff on my blog. I just post stuff whenever I do, whenever I have the time, and whenever I've bought something that I want to talk about. And so, unfortunately, the best way to do stuff is to actually have some sort of freaking schedule. So I think I just have to be strict on myself and just have a schedule, instead of being so chaotic about everything. But anyway, that's my plan moving ahead into the new year. At the moment, 1 year auntie, hurrah! So I suppose here's to another year and seeing how it all goes. Maybe this time next year I will have finally gotten a letter from the GIC. I'm not going to hold my breath. It might not be until 2022 that I even get my first appointment, but we'll see. Maybe they'll pull their finger out their ass and actually, like, you know, hire more people and get through the wait list. We will see. In the meantime, I will just chug along, continue jumping through the stupid hoops to access my medication, and hope that things continue to look up, and hope that my health continues to improve. I mean, so far, it's made a huge difference to my quality of life, so that's a huge plus. I honestly cannot remember or imagine how I functioned previously. I don't know how I managed. How the heck did I manage? Because I had headaches like 3 out of every 4 weeks. And like not even mild headaches, I mean like severe headaches. And I was just always in pain. And how do you... I don't know, it's weird to think that... Yeah. So it's an interesting one to be in this place where I'm more stable than I have been in 20 years. And I don't know, just happier. I know I don't sound it, but I am happier and more comfortable in myself, which is nice. It's really nice. It's weird though. Surreal. It's weird that all it took was one little hormone, just some gel that I put on every morning, would just make such a huge difference to my life. That is a weird one. And I kind of wish that I'd figured that out earlier. You know, I kind of resent that I had to suffer for so many years because nobody thought about it. But hey, we got there eventually. He's making weird noises. So yeah, 1 year on tea. Hurrah! Happy tea day to me from a week ago. I'm disorganised. It's just me. Anyway, see ya.